Boys, we are looking at a hand cannon today called Bad News. Now, this was a year one hand cannon. It had a static roll on it. It is now brought to us now here in Black Armory, and it can roll with random rolls. Now, the focus is really not on Bad News today. I kind of already know what Bad News brings to the table. No, the main focus today is actually the trait here, which is a new trait brought to us in Destiny 2 called Air Assault. You essentially gain increased handling while you are airborne. Now that's great, especially for these 110s, right? These 110s are so slow, which is why you see the masterwork on our exotic hand cannon Sturm greatly increase that handling speed. And Bad News, just like the rest of our 110 round per minute hand cannons, are inherently slow on that ready speed. Now before we get into how this perk was doing, let me just redefine what handling does. It increases the ready speed of your weapon. It also increases the away speed, so you actually stowing your weapon. But most importantly, especially on these 110s, is the ADS speed. And that is actually the number of frames it takes for you to be aiming your weapon down sights. A lot of times here in the game, most of us think a weapon feels terrible just purely based on its handling speed. Of course, you want a weapon to be powerful, but at the same time, you want a weapon to handle fluidly. And my assumption was the trait here, Air Assault, was going to enable that, considering you have to be airborne in order to proc it. And really no better subclass to stay airborne on than the Hunter class. We even rocked it with Wings of Sacred Dawn, which is a Warlock chest piece, which grants us the ability to suspend ourselves in air while aiming down sights. So needless to say, I was doing everything I can to proc this perk. The results, not that impressive. Guys, I'm not even sure if Air Assault is even working on these 110 round per minute hand cannons. It might be a completely different story with our other weapons, but right now, after testing this, in terms of ADS speed as well as ready speed, and I'm comparing this Bad News to the original Bad News with a marginal difference in handling, the overall frames for something like Air Assault on this Bad News did not impress me, guys. It was about the same as the original Bad News, which actually makes sense, because in terms of the original Bad News, with the sight that I chose, which was Sure Shot, the handling speed is a little less, so it would make sense to have a few more frames in terms of its ADS speed and its ready speed. So if something like Air Assault is actually doing anything, it is hardly noticeable. In terms of how many frames it took to aim down sights for both of these weapons, there was not that big of a difference. I mean, when we're talking a difference of 3 to 4 frames, that's not a lot. Not for a perk that I thought would substantially increase those draw times or those ADS speeds. And the only reason why I think the Black Armory version of Bad News was performing better in all of these frame counts was because the year one version had slower handling to begin with. As soon as I loaded it out with faster handling, the other barrel perk, it was getting better numbers than our Air Assault Bad News. So currently right now, from what I've gotten from Air Assault, it doesn't seem to be doing anything for draw time, for ADS speed, or for stow speed. So is there anything here that is bringing any type of value to this perk? Now there's another definition of handling of which I have not explored enough yet, especially on our console, considering we have difficulty with flinch. But as you know, your stability perk maintains your reticle shake on outgoing fire. So when you're actually shooting the weapon, and it's been speculated and maybe even tested by some other YouTubers that the handling stat actually reduces the shake of your reticle on incoming shots. So there is still a chance that this perk is doing that. But my main focus with this was I wanted to take a 110 round per minute hand cannon and essentially turn it into the handling speed of a 150 with this perk. That's what I was hoping for, considering you have to be airborne. I wanted ready speed to be almost on the same level as quick draw and ADS time to be close to something like Snapshot. Some of you say, well, that sounds super powerful. Well, here's my thing, guys. I like adding more perks to the loot pool. I do not like adding garbage perks, though. Currently, right now, from my playtime with this weapon today, this is a garbage perk. Now, I'll give Bungie the benefit of the doubt. We do have bugs at times, and it may actually be bugged. But if it's by design, I would highly advise discarding any weapon you get with this perk. So that is Air Assault, and I hate making these videos, guys. I love making videos where things click and things work. I get so excited when I get to play with certain roles, especially when we get new traits in the game. To suddenly jump on an account and start playing with this and realizing, wow, this doesn't seem to be doing anything is such a bummer. I hate delivering this kind of news, man. I want the broken stuff, not literally the broken stuff. You know what I mean? But shout out to Z for grabbing this hand cannon for us and allowing us to test out this trait. On the off chance that this perk is actually bugged, I would say you might not want to discard these weapons that has this trait on them. Just in case the perk is actually bugged and they are going to get it reworked, it might actually be a very decent perk. Or this could just be on by design and it's just a crap perk to begin with. So fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching, and as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.